or action.
Lights, camera, action. And we're rolling.
Oh, we're rolling, you say? We're live?
Yeah. Well, go play the theme tune first.
Let's play the theme tune.
The theme tune's going.
Okay.
You might be able to hear it now. Good evening and welcome to another Fortean Words. And I don't know whether you know.
Now?
I don't know whether you know, but it's still a complete mystery as to who left the cocaine in the White House. Could a UAP have left it there?
But in completely unrelated news, Hunter Biden's been spotted in the White House recently.
Yeah, been to see his dad. Was he the big man? Did you see the WhatsApp leak? The big man, where he was shaking down that Chinese executive.
I don't know why Hunter Biden refers to his dad as Pedo Pete. I assume it's a term of endearment.
Must be.
He was touching children again this week as well. Did you see it?
Allegedly.
No, he did. It's on a.
What, he nibbled? I believe the phrase was nibbled.
That's right, yeah.
He nibbled
Yeah.
a child.
He's giving a child oral sex.
Aren't old people
There's a
funny?
video recording of Mr. Biden going, and he's talking to like a 10-year-old girl and saying, "Hey, can I tell you a secret?" And he leans in. He doesn't say anything to her. He just sniffs her, and he just acts completely nonplussed that he's being recorded.
Yeah, it's perfectly normal behaviour. What are you talking about? I bet.
It's. I'm just starting to wonder who's the American equivalent of Jimmy Savile for completely unrelated reasons.
Yeah.
He can't control his hands.
He can't control his continence.
Well, you heard about that time he farted in front of Camilla, and Camilla thought it was like the most hilarious thing ever. And then she was like telling people for weeks afterwards about how funny it was.
And didn't he follow through when he met the Pope as well?
Did
Yeah. Filled his unders.
This is all
Well,
perfectly normal behaviour.
Well, for an
Yeah,
80-year-old
like
man,
that.
it is, yeah.
And King Charles, because he's the king now, I have to remind myself of that.
Yeah.
It was just like he was leading him around, holding him by the hand, because Biden was just having another senior moment and didn't know where he was.
It's all perfectly normal. Nothing to see here.
Oh, as 5D Lizard says, Biden shitting himself is just a distraction from Jerry Nadler shitting himself.
Yeah. Why are they trying to distract from Jerry Nadler shitting himself?
Yeah. The only disclosure is going to be to distract from when Jerry Nadler shit himself.
Yeah. Jerry Nadler shitting himself must be hidden.
Nice.
Well, I finished my dinner before the show started.
Yeah. We've got a mouthful.
Right.
Well, the thing is, it's Thursday, it's 7 o'clock, and it's Gyro Day. So shall we kick off on tonight's hot topic?
I don't think we have Gyro Day anymore. Hold on, I'm going to have to share screen so you know what I'm doing.
At the moment, Gyro Day was when the government would give you a cheque for being unemployed.
Yeah.
You go down the Weatherspoons and spend it all.
Pretty much.
But yeah, when you're ready, I'll kick off on tonight's hot topic. So if anyone's got anything else to add, go for it. If not, we shall begin.
What's the topic about? Story.
It's in the name. Titanic in the footsteps of Frederic Fleet. So it's kind of a follow-up to the one we did some time ago, called Mysteries of the Titanic. We looked at the various conspiracies, myths, and psychic premonitions surrounded the doomed liner. So if you remember that one,
we're all doomed.
But due to copyright infringement, casual racism, and general overuse of language of the gutter, the episode is no longer available on YouTube.
It is, however,
was it an implication?
It's available on the audio feed, as are all of our episodes, right the way back to episode 2.
Yeah, you can listen to it on. Was it Libsyn/Fortean words?
Anchor.fm/Fortean words.
Oh, yeah, I should have remembered it's on Anchor.
Yeah.
Wanker.fm.
It's also, I think it's also aggregated out to loads of other stuff, so you can find it on Spotify and all kinds of stuff. I think even Apple. I think it's even on Apple Podcasts.
Is it?
Yeah.
Surprised about that because they're like lefties, aren't they? So they
they probably are.
Anyway.
I think we fly under the radar with a few people that watch it.
Well, we used to have more viewers, didn't we?
Yeah, and then the internet happened.
Yeah, it's not as popular as it was. But anyway, we persist.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right then. So tonight we're going to follow up. Follow up that episode and take a more in-depth look at the person whose job it was to see the iceberg that sank the Titanic. So he didn't see the iceberg in time and ultimately is responsible for the biggest fuck up.
So he didn't get shoved. He didn't get shoved off a perfectly sized door for two. He didn't get shoved off a two people door like happened at the end of Titanic.
Are you going to do the disclaimer? It wasn't the Titanic what sank.
It was
we covered that.
We proved that in the last one, didn't we? Beyond reasonable doubt.
So if you want to hear it, go to the Anchor.fm thingy. Search for Titanic.
We go through that, and also we go through the psychic premonitions, and also we look at the background of the Titanic as well. And it was, and I was quite pleased with the effort of that night, and I was disappointed when it was taken down. I particularly liked the poop deck, which was a deck covered in shit, so that was all right. Yeah, if you get the gag. But anyway, all right then.
You probably would gag, wouldn't you, if you had a deck covered in shit?
Yeah. I wouldn't call it the poop deck in the beginning. I think of another word for it.
Shit deck.
Bit like, So anyway, what we're going to do is look at the life of Frederic Fleet, and we're going to review his actions on that fateful night. And also...
Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm
going to get up close and personal, and with a visit to some of the key locations of his life. And
not like you did with Steve Felton, then.
Well, similar sort of thing. Similar. So anyway, join me tonight as we go on a journey and follow in the footsteps of Titanic lookout Frederic Fleet.
What's the first picture?
Picture number 1 is called.
It's not.
Yeah. Picture number 1. I've labelled them in order. It's called 1. So
what is it? A picture? I can't get it.
It is a picture of.
Right. I see it.
You figured it out. Well, fair enough. So, all right then. No, it doesn't matter. I'll leave you to work that out.
I'm nearly there.
The numbers. Yeah, good. Okay then. So, anyway, we're all familiar with the story of the Titanic, but we'll just have a quick refresher.
Well, we don't really know what happened to the Titanic, but we do know what happened to the Olympic.
Yeah. The general vibe, though. We'll have a quick refresher. I won't go into it in too much detail, as we're all bored shitless of it by now. So, we've heard it enough. Fucking Titanic was one of.
Just think there are adults alive now that weren't alive to watch the original Titanic film.
Exactly. Yeah. No, there's no survivors left either of Titanic. There was a baby that survived into the 2000s, but she's gone now. So anyway.
I'll survive the film coming out. Just about.
I did. Yeah. I avoided it like the plague. Yeah. But anyway. Titanic was one of 3 Olympic-class liners built by the White Star Line in Belfast and was launched in April 1912. At the time, it was the biggest ship ever built and was top of its class in terms of luxury.
And you forgot unsinkable.
Well, it never actually called itself unsinkable. Some of the trade magazines did say it was unsinkable, but it never actually. The White Star Line never itself said it was unsinkable. So it was designed to withstand some pretty severe accidents, but obviously obviously not all accidents.
Not icebergs. They had a blind spot for icebergs, didn't they?
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, it was top of its class in terms of luxury, comfort, and state-of-the-art technology. Okay, the ship's maiden voyage began on the 12th of April from Southampton at noon. Within minutes of the ship's departure, the Titanic passed the liner SS New York. The huge water displacement the ship made caused the New York's mooring cables to snap and swung towards the Titanic. Captain Smith of the Titanic ordered the ship's engines to be put full astern, and the tugboat pulled the New York away. A collision was avoided by a distance of 4 feet, and the Titanic's departure was delayed by an hour. Some saw this event as a bad omen, and considering what happened 3 days later, they were right. But anyway, okay then. Incidentally, just over 7 months earlier, Captain Smith was in charge of Titanic's sister ship, the Olympic. The ship departed Southampton and went into the Solent, where it had a collision with warship HMS Hawke, causing a huge hole in the side of Olympic and putting it out of service for 2 weeks to be repaired. So Captain Smith did have a history of being a bit cack-handed, and the best was yet to come. Anyway, so Titanic eventually managed to leave Southampton and headed to Cherbourg in France, then on to Queenstown in Ireland to pick up more passengers. And though the ship had a maximum capacity of...
Is that where Leonardo DiCaprio got on?
Yeah. Anyway, no, he would have been Ireland, wouldn't he?
Right, okay.
Yeah. Though the ship had a capacity of 3,320 people, the number of people travelling on the maiden voyage was only 2,240. And that was passengers and crew. The ship then headed off into the Atlantic to New York, with an arrival date scheduled for the 17th of April, a journey that was never to be completed. And the picture we can see there, that is the last known photo of the Titanic on the surface of the ocean. So that is there. It was taken during her maiden voyage at Crosshaven Island, just after the vessel departed Queenstown. Yeah, so there you go.
Well, they got a photo bombed by that boat, didn't they?
Yeah. Anyway, so the first 3 days of the voyage passed without incident. But on the 13th and 14th of April, the ship received a number of warnings from other ships of drifting ice in the area, in the area of the Grand Banks of Newfoundland. So Captain Smith received the ice warnings and was aware of icebergs in the area.
And then he said, "Nah, it'll be fine."
Yeah, exactly. But what did he do about it? I'll tell you what he did about it. Fuck all. So there we go. That's what he did. Fuck all about it. Couldn't give a shit. So anyway, if we have a look at the next picture there.
Well, apparently he was on a bit of a race, weren't he? He wanted to be the first, the quickest.
No, they say that, but that's the rumor. But here we go. There's the actual. That's the Titanic there, going through the ice field. Now, can you tell me what's wrong with that picture? If you ever study this, I think we did have this question last time. Can you tell me what is actually wrong? There's something wrong with that picture. We can see Titanic there, but is Hobbit there? Is he still stuffing his face? Because we can see.
Yeah, well, the one thing which comes to mind in this is that the 4 chimneys are belching smoke. Now, I'm told there's only 3 chimneys which were actual smokers, and the 4th one was used to store deck chairs.
That's pretty much right. Yeah, you can see there's smoke coming out of all 4 funnels. The 4th funnel was actually mainly put there for show to make the ship look more impressive. Though it was used for ventilation of other kind, it wasn't used to extract fumes from the engine room.
So people back then, they were like, 3 chimneys, that's wank. Is that
4 chimneys. So when they saw that the 4th chimney, that made them come. So yeah. So basically that picture's bollocks. So
yeah, and why is this smoke like being pushed downwards?
Yeah, exactly, because it was a calm night, so there would be no wind. Anyway, Titanic continued to steam at full speed, which was standard practice at the time. Although they were not trying to set a speed record, timekeeping was a priority, and under prevailing maritime practices, ships were often operated at close to full speed. Ice warnings were seen as advisories, and reliance was placed upon lookouts and the watch on the bridge. At 11:40 p.m, on the 14th of April, lookout Frederic fleet spotted an iceberg immediately ahead of the Titanic and alerted the bridge. First Officer William Murdoch ordered the ship to be steered around the iceberg and the engines to be reversed.
You actually know, if you were going for a job and they go, previous job, I was the lookout on the Titanic.
Yeah, I would lie on my CV, to be honest, but I have done that as well. And also, I wouldn't put that on my LinkedIn
the lookout
page.
on the Titanic, is it?
Well, we don't know. If I am, that's not on my LinkedIn page. So anyway, I've omitted that. So anyway. Anyway, where were we? Okay, so Murdoch ordered the ship to be steered around the iceberg and the engines to be reversed, but it was too late. The starboard side of Titanic struck the iceberg, creating a series of holes below the waterline, allowing water to rush in, and soon it became clear that the ship was going to sink. Okay, so right. It was a right shit mess now. There were 20 lifeboats on the ship, which would carry a maximum of 1,178 people. This would mean about half the passengers on the Titanic would not have space in a lifeboat. But it did comply with the outdated safety regulations of the day. The ship had been designed to carry 32 lifeboats, but this was reduced to 20 as it was felt that the deck would be too cluttered. So yeah.
You don't want those lifeboats cluttering up the fucking deck, do you?
Exactly, yeah.
Waste of time. It's not like you're going to use them anyway, is it?
Exactly, especially in an unsinkable ship.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they had enough lifeboats to comply with regulations, so the whole thing was a bit fucked up. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when the ship sank, the lifeboats that had been lowered only filled up to an average of 60%. This is partly due to people not wanting to get into lifeboats, thinking it was safer to stay on the ship. But as it became apparent that
it was safer to stay on a sinking ship.
Well, they thought it was unsinkable, didn't they? They thought, well, maybe just people are the ship was sinking slowly, so there was no panic initially. They thinking, nah, it's not sinking. And look at those fucking idiots getting into lifeboats. You wouldn't catch me out there.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
You wouldn't catch me dead on one of those lifeboats.
Exactly. As it became apparent that the ship was sinking, havoc broke out on deck as people scrambled to get into the remaining lifeboats. In order to calm people down at this time, Titanic bandmaster Wallace Hartley.
Is there any truth to the bit from the film where they're shooting people who are trying to get on the boats?
I don't think they shot people directly, but they did fire shots into the air to shit people up, to tell them to say, right, stop fucking about.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was shot directly, but anyway, especially as bandmaster William Hartley got his band to play some music as the ship went down. That guy fucking mad or what? The ship was sinking, and he says, right guys, let's play some music. So, yeah. If I was in his band, I'd tell the fucking mad cunt to get fucked. I'm getting into a lifeboat, mate, not standing here.
What's this? It's got a good beat.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. Anyway, okay then. So there you go. 706 people survived the disaster. They were conveyed by the ship, the Carpathia, to New York.
Which just happened to be in the area.
It wasn't. It was miles away. That was miles away. The Californian was in the area. But
the Californian. Which is the one that was, just hanging around there for no real reason whatsoever.
The Californian, in fact, they did see... They said that they did see, flares going up in ship, but didn't do anything about it.
Well, there's the thing about the telegraph, isn't there? What were the orders about the telegraph? To not pay any attention to incoming telegraphs or something like that, weren't it, from the captain?
Yeah, because they were paid. They were paid to. It was a bit like email. So people were sending their relatives and whatever, saying, "Oh, we'll be there on Tuesday or whatever." and have a nice time. And those were taking precedence over the more pressing ones coming from other ships saying, watch out for icebergs, because they were getting paid. But anyway.
Obviously excellent captaining skills from Captain Knobhead.
Yeah, exactly. So, 1,517 people died in the disaster. It was believed that Titanic sank in one piece, but upon discovery the wreck in 1985, it was revealed that the ship had broken into two. All the remaining passengers and crew were immersed in water at a temperature of -2 degrees C. So they didn't last long in that. And
apart from that bitch in
people...
Titanic who shoved him off the fucking wood door, but they'd have been both fine on that door, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Plenty big enough to that door.
He could have done better than her as well. He was like punching below his weight with her, wasn't he?
Yeah.
She wasn't much.
Rose, that was it. Rose.
Yeah. That cow. Anyway, only 5 people who were in the water were helped into lifeboats. The lifeboats had room for almost 500 more people. The whole thing was a complete fuck up, basically. The worst was yet to come as a result of the disaster when, in 1997, James Cameron served up that pile of shit for us to waste 3 hours of our life watching. So,
have they done the super mega cut yet? When it was about 4 hours long.
Oh, there are some good Titanic films out there, including a porno version.
Raise the Titanic. There was that one. Raise the Titanic, weren't there?
There's also that one's quite good, but there's a porno version called Titanic, where Rose gets tag teamed and then spit roasted by 2 well-hung studs from third class, whilst Jack pleasures himself whilst watching. So, pretty good. So, there was an informal but informative review of the Titanic disaster. So, what we'll do now then, we'll have a bit more of an in-depth look at the man who should have seen the iceberg but didn't, and it was ultimately the man who sank the Titanic. So,
not really, because that captain was a mad bastard. He probably wouldn't listen to
him anyway. He was, but you knew that the guys whose job it was to see the iceberg, really, he should have seen the iceberg sooner.
I hate icebergs. Full steam ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, okay then. So, with the summer upon us...
Yeah, but it was just the tip of the iceberg.
Well, that was iceberg stuck up my arse, wasn't it?
Icebergs should fuck off back to where they came from.
Alaska.
Yeah.
Anyway, with the summer now upon us, I had to think of something to fill up the long summer days. So what I decided to do was head to Southampton and see what I could find. Fascination and sheer boredom led me to follow in the footsteps of Titanic lookout Frederic Fleet. So then, let's begin. So, the journey to follow in the footsteps of Frederic Fleet started on the 24th of June, headed south towards Fleet's hometown of Southampton. My residence for the trip was to be Ashurst campsite in the New Forest, about 5 miles to the west of Southampton.
Is that near Lyndhurst?
It is, yeah, the Lyndhurst is there. So the New Forest is a hotbed of Fortean activity. Alien big cats, phantom black dogs, ghosts, British Bigfoot, witchcraft, and man bear pig.
Didn't you black out one night whilst drinking? And the aliens?
I did, yeah. That was unusual. And I can't remember anything about that night when I was there. And we did cover this in a previous edition.
And you woke up and someone had puked in your pockets and shit in your pants.
Well, there was ectoplasm everywhere. Yeah. So. But anyway, they weren't the reason for my visit. And had I had any encounters of that type, then it would have just been a bonus. I've been to Ashurst campsite numerous times and can recommend it. There's plenty of space for tents and caravans in the forestry setting. Wild horses roam the site, which is nice. But be careful, as they do try and go inside your tent, as they know there's probably food in there.
Oh, hold on. Got a bit of movie trivia. Night to Remember, Barry Norman's dad directed it. Do you remember Barry Norman? The film guy.
Remember Barry Norman. Night to Remember is actually a good Titanic film. Actually, it's in black and white. It's from the 50s, but yeah, that's probably a better film than the that one is we saw. Anyway, I've had some horse encounters over the years, and on that visit, one of the
around.
they were horses. One of the long-faced fuckers tried to eat my book that I was reading about Fred West. So I managed to save the book, but it was covered in horse saliva, and I had to dry it out. The toilet and the shower block are clean, and the staff are helpful. And about 2 minutes from the side is a train station and a selection of takeaways if you can't be asked to cook using one of those epoxy gas stoves. So that's pretty good. And there's a co-op and a BP garage nearby. Most importantly, there's 2 pubs. That's about a minute's walk from the site. The New Forest Inn, which is a Fuller's pub, a bit pricey.
Well, you might as well go for the full review. How much a night was it?
It was pretty good. I think it was 3 nights, about 70 quid for 3 nights, which was good.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, not too bad. The Fuller's pub, though, that's a bit shit. And then you've got the Happy Cheese next to it, which is a more reasonably priced pub and has a better atmosphere. So that's good. The only downside to the campsite this time, anyway, was no sooner had we arrived, I found a good spot to pitch the tents, and a Karen woman came over and said I couldn't camp there because someone had parked their car there. It was fuck all to do with her, so we just pitched up anyway, and she was pissed off, and no one turned up to park their car, and she just wanted to be a pain in the arse. But the best thing was, the next day she left, and she was having trouble packing up her tent, because it was one of those pop-up ones. I don't know if you've seen those. They just spring up. She was trying to fold it and she couldn't do it, and it kept springing back open, and it took her ages. And we just sat there, watched it, laughed quite openly, and offered her no help whatsoever. Fucking bitch. So anyway, that was. I felt good.
Was
about
that the highlight? Would you? For you?
Oh well, no, that it was one of the highlights. It felt good. Look at the next picture. We can actually see I've got the camp set up there, so you can show the next picture there.
Ooh, that's nice.
Emmy. It's nice, isn't it? Yeah? So there we go. That's where we
2
stayed.
tents. Look at you, posh bastard.
So that's
2
good.
tents, parasol. Look at that. Home from home.
2 chairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have the bigger tent because I had my back. I have to stand up. So
you weren't with a lady friend then?
No. So that's why we've got separate tents, isn't it? 2 tents.
Yeah. You don't want 2 blokes in a tent.
Exactly.
Wrong, that is.
Yeah, it is. It's not right. It says so in the Bible. So, when everything's set up, we headed to Southampton to
it's
follow.
Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Not Adam and Steve.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's Adam and Eve. It's not Madam and Eve. So anyway. With everything set up, we headed to Southampton to follow in the footsteps of Titanic lookout Frederic Fleet. So then, let's have a look. Well, let's go there. This is maybe
he was fleet of foot to get on that boat, boat, weren't he?
He was, yeah. Right then. So, Frederic Fleet was born on the 15th of October, 1887, in Liverpool, England. Unlike most children from Liverpool, Fleet turned down a career stealing cars or selling crack. Instead, he opted to have a life on the ocean waves. And in 1903...
Just think if his mother had kept her legs closed, 1,000 people might still be alive to this day.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, in 1903, at the age of 15, he went
to... A lot of problems could be solved if women kept their legs closed. We love our women here.
Yeah, we do.
We got the best women. Huge women.
Yeah.
Huge,
big, beautiful women.
Like Sharon from EastEnders. She's a big girl, isn't she? Yeah.
It's kind of a bit weird because she's a bit big round the midriff and she tries to hide it with like fluffy tops and that, don't she?
Yeah. And the uprift as well. She doesn't hide that though, does she?
Yeah.
So park your bike in there. So anyway. At the age of 15, Fleet went to sea to work as a cabin boy. He worked his way up the career ladder to able seaman and worked for 4 years as a lookout on the ship RMS
So he was Roger
Oceanic.
the cabin boy, and then he became Seaman Staines.
He was Rogered as a cabin boy. That's why then he took up a job as a lookout.
Yeah.
So.
Sex jokes. I get that.
Yeah. Seaman Staines, Roger the cabin boy.
And his psychic swallow.
I don't know, the other Captain Pugwash names which weren't real anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, as a seaman, Fleet earned £5 per month, plus an extra 5 shillings as for lookout duties.
Well, you should pay that back.
Yeah, well, in April 1912, Fleet joined the crew of the Titanic as a lookout, along with 5 other watchmen. We can have a look at him.
I don't think there was a no ship, no fee policy for watchmen.
No ship, no fee. You want next picture?
Well, yes, have a look at him. Yeah,
he looks like Dopey Chris, doesn't he?
Yeah, well. Right, anyway, okay then. So, Fleet boarded the Titanic in Southampton on the 12th of April 1912. The ship then sailed to Cherbourg, France, and then on to Queenstown in Ireland. There were 908 crew members on the Titanic, and 724 of those were from Southampton. 685 crew members died in the disaster, and of those, 549 were from Southampton. So.
And of those, one of them wasn't the fucking useless lookout.
I know. Okay, what we'll do, if we look at the next picture there, Hemi, we can have a look at the next picture. See the Titanic docked in Southampton, and see the site that he would have been met by. And let's have a look at that there. So that's the side of the Titanic there on the dock in Southampton.
Yeah.
And then if we go to the next picture,
we're up.
We can look at the next picture there. We can actually see a full frontal picture. So that's the Southampton dock there.
Oh, smoking for people who like a bit of smoking porn.
Basically, that's a picture of impending doom. But what does Ocean Dock look like today? So if we go to the next picture there, we can have a look at that. Let's have a look at an aerial view.
It's a bit wet on the side there, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So basically, Titanic would have been they would have been docked on that left hand side there. So, but yeah, I wanted to get more of a
Titanic's like a really massive ship.
Yeah.
Well, there's a recent cruise liner been what's the word? Commissioned, set sail, whatever, and it's called Spirit of the Seas, and it dwarfs the Titanic.
I think they have been doing so for quite a while, haven't they? Dwarfing the Titanic.
Yeah. At the time, it was the biggest ship, only by a few inches though, because it was exactly the same as the Olympic. But
maybe it's just I have some sort of disconnect from 2023. Like, I think of the Fiat 500 as a small car, and then I see it, and it's fucking massive. It's bigger than my car.
And the Mini.
Yeah, and you've got a Jag.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Mini.
Yeah,
I like how the Mini's called Mini when it's fucking massive.
Yeah. How do you get 4 Beatles in a Mini?
You open up the ashtray
and put John Lennon in the ashtray.
Yeah.
And you can put George Harrison in the ashtray now as well.
And Ringo Starr.
And Paul McCartney from 1964.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can put all of the Beatles in it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Anyway, okay. So that's an aerial view there. So, but I wanted to get.
Here's a question for you then. How many times was John Lennon shot? He was shot all them times. Yoko Ono, not one fucking bullet. Jesus, why?
Yeah, but you could also say John F. Kennedy was shot and killed, but Dick Cheney and who's that? Henry Kissinger still alive?
Yeah.
How can Henry Kissinger
Dick Cheney shot his mate while he was out hunting, didn't he?
And then the mate had to apologise for being shot.
Yeah. That's how evil Dick Cheney. That's what I like about Dick Cheney. He's so fucking evil. That's how evil he is.
And also, Yoko Ono was just mad, wasn't she? Whereas John Lennon was a fucking hypocrite. So
yeah,
it's not her fault.
You ever seen that picture of those two stood up while the maid's making the fucking bed?
I don't think I have.
Oh, there is one. You can find it out there. It's those two stood up while the maid's making the bed.
I know I saw the clip of him singing a song while she did Bob Dylan card type things whilst he was singing, and she had a sanitary towel over her eyes.
Oh,
I remember that.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so the thing is, whilst doing all this, I wanted to get a more personal view of the dock. So I made it my mission to go to Ocean Dock and stand on the dock where the Titanic was once birthed. Ready to
I
head
can't believe
towards
there's 7 of them.
Yeah.
7 what?
Mission
The
Impossible.
Mission
film.
Impossibles.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I just did the Mission
Anyway.
Impossible because you said about the. Yeah.
Okay, then, so I wanted to go there. So let's see then. If you go to the first video clip I've sent you, we can see how I got on trying to get onto Ocean Dock. It was a bit windy that day, so my commentary's a bit drowned out. But if you play the clip, you get the general idea.
Right, so
once we're
audio should be coming through.
Yeah, so I tried to get on.
Run VT.
Let's have a look. Run VT.
Right, okay, so it's
Hold on, it's not up. Hold on one second.
Yeah, so I knew this was going to happen, but
Well, it should be. It's just the thing. It doesn't do it from.
Yeah.
Right, there we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Run VT. Full size.
Right.
here we are, and just beyond those gates we have Ocean Dock, Southampton, just beyond there, and it is in that dock where Titanic was birthed on the 10th of April 1912, where passengers and crew boarded the vessel, and one of those crew who walked this stretch of road on that fateful day was none other than Frederic Fleet, unaware of the havoc he was about to cause. And we can actually see a Titanic birth. Bear with me one moment.
Are you still allowed to call it a dock, or just call it a place of
This
birth?
is what Titanic would have looked like there. That's the scene. The dock is still there. But yeah. So anyway, the voyage began at noon on that day, and when the Titanic was heading to the Cherbourg as its first stop to pick up more passengers, and a few minutes after the vessel set sail, an accident was narrowly averted when the Titanic passed the moored liner SS City of New York. The huge water displacement caused the New York to be lifted up to the point that its mooring cable snapped and the vessel was drawn into the path of the Titanic. A nearby tugboat acted fast and was able to tow the New York away as Captain Smith ordered Titanic's engines to be put full astern. Yeah. So the collision was narrowly avoided by a distance of about 4 foot, and Titanic's departure was delayed by about an hour. So some saw this incident as a bad omen, and of what was to come, and they were right. So yeah, pretty good. So I did ask if I could, the security guard down there, I did ask if I could go down and actually go to the dock itself and have a look and take some photos, but he said no, and if I didn't leave the premises immediately then he would kick my head in, so there was no need for that. It was a bit nasty, to be honest, quite small-minded in fact. But anyway, however, if we just walk away,
It's an average Tuesday for
we
you.
can just go over here. Just an interesting.
So another person that Ian's upset.
Grassy verge now. Windy. Hope you can hear me okay. So just outside the dock, we have this memorial. Let's go and have a look. See, okay. There we go. So let's have a look at that there. That's what it says there. So read that. In memory of the passengers and crew of RMS Titanic, which sailed from the nearby berth 43 on a maiden voyage on the 10th of April 1912 and sank on the 15th of April 1912 with a loss of over 1,500 lives. Yes, and it as far as that, we wonder. Anyway, there we go. That's Ocean Dock and the Ocean Dock Titanic flag. Nice.
There we go.
So there we go. Yeah, it was a bit windy that day, so it was interfering with my
Just a bit,
with my commentary, and also they wouldn't let me go on the dock, which I thought was. They said no, you have to have a ticket to get on the boat to go on the dock. So that was a bit disappointing. I couldn't.
And like a train station where you can get like a dock pass.
Maybe, but you need a dock pass, don't you? You don't pay for this. This is not cheap, so I'm not paying that. So though I was unable to access Ocean Dock. And do a photo comparison, I did a bit of rooting around on the internet, and I managed to find someone who did do this. So if you go to the next photo there, Hemi, we can actually see someone else doing what I wanted to do.
Look at that!
Exactly. There you go. That's what I wanted to do.
That was
but
worth
it didn't happen.
weren't it?
Well, I would have liked to have done it, but so had security not stopped me. I tried to walk straight through, and they go, "Oh, what are you doing?" I was like, "Well, can you just let me go through there?"
I'm a documentary. You should have said I'm a documentary filmmaker.
Yeah,
and then shoved your camera right in his face.
I was an idiot. Like,
so you stop in the freedom of the press, and you should come out.
The uniform just went. Uniform.
You're part of BBC Verify.
Yeah.
But anyway, interesting though. If you look at the picture there, that red bollard is actually the original one. So it was still there after all these years. So Titanic actually had its mooring line on that self-same bollard. Would have been nice to go there and see that, but it didn't. So anyway, whatever. Okay, so that was pretty hard work. So it was then time for some liquid refreshment. We set out to find a suitable licensed premises to find a liquid lunch. Oxford Street in Southampton has many bars and pubs and a good place to have a piss up, so we headed in that direction. As we strolled down Oxford Street, trying to find somewhere to have a pint or three, we came across an interesting building. So let's just put the next picture up there. We'll have a quick look at that. So
I remember someone telling me the reason he had a splash of blackcurrant with his Guinness was, if you can't afford lunch, you could just put that in and now it's a complete meal.
Yeah. No, it is. You can drink Guinness. Guinness with blackcurrant is a bit like a dessert, isn't it? You have a pint of Guinness as your main course, and a pint with a fruit cordial.
Well, when I was an animal back in the day, I used to drink Guinness Snakebite, which is half a pint of cider and half a pint of Guinness.
Oh, you ever had a black and tan?
Oh, and I also used to have one of those with a touch of black in it as well.
I like black and tan.
Yeah.
I used to have half a pint of.
That's bitter and lager, isn't it? Black and tan, or is it bitter and stout?
Bitter and stout.
Bitter and stout.
I used to have half a Kronenberg in a pint glass and then top it up with Diamond White cider, which was about 7%. So,
that's good stuff.
Do you remember Castaway wine cooler, Ian?
No, I can't say I
shit!
did.
So, but if you had a pint glass, and you had a bottle of that, and you had a bottle of Diamond White, the little glass bottles of Diamond White, and you put that in a pint glass, it used to taste like lilt, and it got you really pissed.
Yeah. Well, Diamond White on itself would get you really pissed. That's tramp cider, isn't it? White cider.
You ever had a cheeky Vimto? It doesn't contain any Vimto whatsoever.
I did try one.
I've had a cheeky half, which is half a pill. Anyway, so anyway, back to this though. That there is called the Sailors' Home, which I passed. So that's interesting. A large building which was home to sailors from 1909 to 1969, and 24 of the Titanic crew stayed there before the voyage, including the lookouts Reginald Lee and Frederic Fleet. Both men survived the sinking, and Lee continued to reside in the Sailors' Home until his death a year later from pneumonia. So let's look at the next video clip there, Hemi. Just got a quick
pneumonia
clip of the Sailors' Home.
Hold on a sec. I've got to get
number
that
2,
one up.
so we'll have a look at that. So
I've got to get
Sailors'
the email
Home.
up first. Hold on. Got to go back to the start. Clip number 2. Titanic
Number 2,
location, Sailors' Home.
That's the one.
Right, let's have a look.
We'll have a look at that. Show the people at home what I came across.
Here's
We are back in Southampton. The building we're looking at is the Sailor's Home. You can see that there at the top.
Is that playing?
Sailor's
Yeah.
Home
If you have a look in Discord, if you
Built,
click on the live, that will show you exactly what's
in
going on screen
1909.
without the delay.
So the sailors could stay in there. And many of the sailors who boarded the Titanic in Southampton were staying there, never to return. There we are. These days though, it's luxury flats. So yeah, there we go. That's the Sailor's Home.
There we go.
Nice. Yeah, obviously it's by the sea, it's quite windy, so it does interfere with the commentary, but you'll get the idea. Right, okay then, so there we go. So we headed away from there looking for somewhere to drink, and we came across a suitable drinking hole to have our piss up, and it was the Grapes Pub. So if you go to the next picture there, Hemi, next picture, number 10, we can have a look at this place. It's quite historic. And we can see, there we go, the Grapes Pub, and there's an actual picture of the Titanic. So obviously, there's some kind of connection there. And we found out there was an interesting Titanic story related to the pub, which I shall relay to you now. So, it goes as follows. On April the 6th, that's my birthday that is, on April the 6th, 1912, brothers Alfred, Tom, and Bertram Slade all signed up to be firemen on the Titanic. All were seasoned sailors.
Do you want to explain what a fireman is in case people think
it's just someone who puts coal into...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not someone who puts... It's someone who keeps the fires going. But,
Yeah.
so it's people who shoveled coal into the boilers. That's who it was. So anyway, all were seasoned sailors. 25-year-old Alfred had just finished tour of duty on the Highland Glen, and Bertram, 26, and Thomas, 27, had transferred from the Titanic's sister ship, Olympic. After reporting on board...
Well, they were back
Titanic,
on there then, weren't they?
Yeah. They were pretty good. So
Were they like, this looks familiar?
Yeah. They knew how it worked. But after reporting to board onto the Titanic at 8 a.m. on April the 12th, the brothers, like so many of the crew, decided to pass the time before boarding in one of Southampton's many pubs. The Slades settled themselves down in the Grapes, which we see there, a public house that was a short walk from the docks. At 11:15, they were joined by crewmates John Podesta and William Nutbean, who had been drinking elsewhere.
Did you say
but
John
decided-
Podesta?
That's his name, John Podesta.
No relation.
Is that your?
Well, we
Is
don't
that
know.
your name?
No, Podesta
Yeah.
he's the creepy Yankees who could possibly have kidnapped.
Definitely wasn't at Comet
Madeline
Ping
McCann.
Pong's basement because it
Yeah.
doesn't have a basement.
Yeah.
You never heard
Anyway.
of the Podesta brothers, Ian?
It rings a bell, but obviously,
Allegedly
I don't know
creepy
everything.
allegedly creepy pedos.
Definitely weren't in a spin-off film called the Super Podesta Brothers.
Super Podesta.
Yeah. But anyway, Podesta and Nutbean had been drinking elsewhere, but decided to chance one last
And
drink
also,
with the
Nutbean isn't a
Slades.
real name. Nutbean
That's
is
his
not
name.
a real. It's not a real
Nutbean,
name.
N-U-T, well, that's what it says here.
Yeah.
William Nutbean. So, anyway,
The names have been
About
changed
10
to protect the innocent or guilty, as the case may be.
about 10 minutes to 12, the group left the Grapes to make their way to the Titanic. However, they were delayed when a passenger train heading to the docks drew up and blocked their way. It was a long train, and if the crewmates waited for it to stop, going around it would have severely hampered their journey. The Slades, however, being quite relaxed after having a few drinks, said, let the train go by.
Yeah.
And waited. Podesta later said he heard one of the brothers say this. However, Podesta and Nutbean and a fireman from the ship decided not to chance the wait and dashed across in front of the train, leaving the Slade brothers behind. By the time the brothers reached the White Star dock, it was 11:59, and the gangplank was just being drawn up. Despite the fact that brothers could have been let on, an officer in charge of the gangway refused to lower it.
Fucking
Southampton
Jodsworth.
dock, yeah, fucking cunt doing that. Anyway, Set them on the Titanic. Southampton docks were packed with sailors desperate for work, and when the brothers did not board, he had taken on new men to replace them. John Podesta and William Nutbean managed to survive the sinking. However, the men who replaced the Slade brothers did not return. The Slade brothers might have lost their jobs that
do you
day.
follow the theory that that it sunk because there was a fire started in the coal set on fire, didn't it? It's one of the theories.
Yeah, there is a theory, and there was a fire there, but that was put out. And no, it sank because it went into an iceberg at the wrong angle, basically, and it got it got 6 watertight compartments flooded. Had it been 5, it would have stayed afloat, and that's what happened. But yeah, there was a fire on the boat, but that was common in those days, you know. Anyway, the Slade brothers might have lost their jobs that day, but they had saved their lives. So there. So if we go, we can have a look at the next clip there, Hemi, the next video.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at some footage of the Grapes pub and see a bit of history, bit of Titanic history coming up. So it's pretty good.
So Grapes pub,
That's it, number 3. Let's have a look at this. So it's pretty good.
And run VT.
Nice.
Here we have the Grapes pub.
There it is.
And it was in this pub on the morning that the Titanic was about to depart that the Slade brothers, who were 3 brothers who were going to work on the Titanic as crew, decided to go for a pint.
That chimney looks a bit like the Titanic, but it's 3
Voyage, and
chimneys,
turned
doesn't it?
into a bit of a
It does,
pisser.
yeah.
So they got a bit carried away with the drinking and were late getting onto the boat, and they were refused entry. So that was quite unfortunate. Bit out of order, considering the boat hadn't departed, but the Slade brothers were not allowed to board. So there we have the Grapes pub, and you can see there they've got actually a picture of the Titanic under the sign there, showing their connection with the ship. So yeah, so without further ado, let's go and have a pint in the Grapes, or the arse Grapes. Let's do it.
Yeah, the arse Grapes, that's piles, isn't it? But anyway, okay then, so that's
Chalfonts
good.
and Giles.
So, and outside the Grapes pub, we can actually see a plaque on the wall. Go to the next picture. I took a photo of this. It says, "The Slade Brothers' Lucky Escape," and that's in the next picture, number 11 there, him. As he tells the story there. And go to the next picture, and we'll see...
a Madry. You're drinking a Madry.
Exactly. It's a nice drop, actually. So, whilst we were getting hammered in the Grapes pub, I thought I'd raise my glass to the Slade brothers, who had their lives saved thanks to the Grapes. So, yeah. That's actually quite nice. Have you ever tasted Madry?
No, I had quite a nice one the other day. I can't remember what it's called now, but it was a nice
also
citrusy beer. Something IPA.
It's becoming more common. Well, this is a lager, but and also that Moretti is more common. You know, that's when they're pushing them over. They're both quite nice drops, actually. But anyway, okay.
I quite like. I'm more of an IPA man. I like an IPA or a pint.
Yeah,
Pint of beer.
Cider for me.
A summer's evening, a lager.
Oh yeah, well, summer's got to be a strong bow, innit?
Exactly. Or a diamond white. But
Diamond
If it's a hot summer sangria.
Bottle of K.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. Anyway, back.
3 litre bottle of Old English for 99p in like the good old days.
Exactly. Yeah.
You go.
And then shaped at traffic. Okay.
Do you know, remember 3 litre bottles of booze of it? You used to be, when I was a kid, you used to be able to buy like 3 litres of cider for 99p.
One of my earliest booze memories was I was about 12 years old. My dad sent me to the Spanish corner shop where I bought, it was in a carton, a 1 litre bottle of sangria for 99 pesetas.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's good sangria too.
Yeah, it's a nice drop. But anyway, okay. So back to Frederic Fleet then. So anyway, there were 6 lookouts on the Titanic who rotated in 2-hour shifts in the crow's nest due to the extreme cold. And we can actually see, if you go to the next picture, I mean, we can actually see the crow's nest there on the Titanic, the actual crow's nest, and that's where Fleet was doing his observations. And upon the discovery of the Titanic on the ocean floor in recent times, we can have a look and see how the crow's nest that they discovered. So go to the next picture. There's the first image.
Ooh.
The next picture, yeah, you see that it's it fucked there. So that was the crow's nest in 1985 when it was first discovered, and then if you go to the next picture, you can see in more recent times the crow's nest has practically disappeared, so it's hardly there anymore. There's a bit of So anyway, back to the story. So, on the night of the 14th of April, Fleet and his fellow lookout Reginald Lee replaced George Simmons and Archie Jewell in the crow's nest. They were passed the order given earlier by Second Officer Charles Lightoller to watch out for small ice. The night was calm and moonless, which made it difficult to spot the icebergs due to the lack of waves breaking against the base of the iceberg and reflection. Despite Fleet and his fellow
the wrong
lookouts,
kind of iceberg then. Like typical British Rail excuse.
Any excuse.
It's not his fault. It was the wrong kind of iceberg. Yeah.
There were leaves on the ocean.
There were leaves on the iceberg.
Yeah, exactly. Someone had shoved all the toilet paper down the toilet. Anyway, and made hell of a mess in there. So, despite Fleet and his fellow lookouts repeatedly requesting binoculars, they were never provided.
Well, you don't know what do you need lookouts for when you're
exactly.
What do you need binoculars for when you're a lookout on an ocean liner?
Exactly.
Health and safety gone mad, isn't it?
What do you need eyes for if you're a lookout? It's fucking political correctness gone mad, isn't it?
It's just,
anyway,
it's just health and
but
safety
we can't just afford binoculars to give them out willy-nilly. Just squint.
You want to borrow the one pair of binoculars for lookout stuff? No.
Or do that thing where you put your thumb and forefinger in a circle and then put them over your eyes like you would do.
Anyway. Make a bog roll telescope.
Captain says it's my turn with the binoculars.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is sometimes attributed to the last minute. Despite the fact that they had repeatedly requested binoculars, they were never provided, and this is sometimes attributed to the last-minute change in hierarchy of the ship when Officer David Blair was removed from the maiden voyage crew, and due to the knock-on effect of Henry Tingle Wild being appointed as chief officer.
These can't be Tingle Wild. That cannot be a real person. Here. That cannot be a real person's name.
Well, they're not as bad as the names in the that UFO landing one.
I think there's there's like a lot of like chaff. That's what I'm looking for amongst the Titanic stuff, because you remember that thing about around about the same time the Federal Reserve was founded, the opponents of the Federal Reserve were on the Titanic.
Yeah,
which I thought was that's an interesting coincidence.
Exactly, and J.P. Morgan, who owned the Titanic, he was going to sail on the maiden voyage. Yeah, he was going to sail on the maiden voyage, but he cancelled at the last minute. So
I didn't know he was the investor.
They own White Star Line. So.
Right. Yeah, so he's kind of like the Bill Gates of his time, with like, I've released mosquitoes with dengue fever in Florida.
Exactly.
Why did you do that? Because dengue fever.
Exactly. But now, for some strange reason, dengue fever's a thing in Florida now. For some weird reason, just can't add it all up together and figure it out. It's just
none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
But okay then. But on the voyage, then anyway, no one had mentioned where the binoculars had been located, and it's also speculated that Blair accidentally took the keys of the cabinet containing the binoculars with him. Despite both inquiries into the disaster, nothing was clarified with why the lookouts were not provided with binoculars, although evidence suggests that White Star Line steamers lookout did not routinely use them. Some experts say that even using binoculars neither Fleet nor Lee could have spotted the iceberg any sooner, given the conditions of the night.
Well, if an
And,
object appears larger, there's no
yeah.
chance you're actually going to
They
be able to see it.
They could have
sooner, is
tried. They could have tried just fucking paying attention. But anyway.
Is
can
that
actually-
because globe Earth? And so
Yeah.
even if you had binoculars, you'd still see the same horizon.
Yeah,
you won't be able to see further over.
Yeah, wouldn't have been able to see all of the iceberg, would they? Because it would have been hidden.
The
by
binoculars
texture,
don't allow you to see over the horizon. It just lets you see what's there in great detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And
globe Earth.
And it reduces your field of vision, so...
Yeah.
But then you only need to see what's dead ahead. You don't need to see what's fucking miles away, do you? But anyway,
Well,
okay.
that's
then.
where you can scan around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, instead,
Okay.
you don't have to see it all at once. You can see it all in little chunks and add
you
it
can.
up to one big picture.
Yeah. Anyway, we can actually see, if we look at the next picture, we can actually see the key that caused all this. So put the next picture up there. It's the actual
Locker 14
Look.
fucked. That literally
Yeah.
says fucked, doesn't it?
And it did.
Too many
was
coincidences. Too many coincidences in this.
In 2016, that key was sold at auction for 85 grand. That's not bad, is it? So, anyway, okay. At 11:39 p.m.
Did someone buy it and go
Bleach.
back in time and give it to the lookout?
It would have been an idea, but 11:39 p.m. on that night, Fleet first spotted the iceberg and rang the crow's nest bell 3 times to warn the bridge of something ahead. And if we go to the next picture there, Hemi, we can actually see what was ahead of him. And this is the
How have they got a
suspected
picture?
ice-
How have they got a picture of
Well,
the iceberg?
I should go into that. So that's
Oh, okay.
supposed to be the iceberg. So that was what Fleet failed to see until it was too late. Anyway, and I'm not being funny, but Stevie Wonder could have seen that. So
How big? Does anybody know? Are there any measurements like how big it is across or something? Anything?
it was just fucking big, you know. It was.
Yeah.
I'm told Stevie Wonder drives his own car when the chauffeur's not
Or,
available.
Yeah.
or Ray Charles could have seen that. Or
Have you heard that? Have you heard that thing that Stevie
any
Wonder?
blind man.
Stevie Wonder actually can see. It's just a bit he's doing.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He drives his car when the
Yeah.
chauffeur's not available.
Really?
Yeah, he pretends to be blind.
It
That's
also
good
reminds me of a
marketing,
Red
isn't
Dwarf line, isn't it? It's like giving blind Pew contact lenses. Do you remember that one? Is it Lister talking about? Is it Rimmer talking about the scutters? He says, I think Lister says you got the scutters to help. He says it's like giving blind Pew contact lenses.
Mm.
Anyway, okay. That photo though was snapped by the chief steward aboard the steamer Pins Elderbert, which passed the site just hours after the Titanic sank on the 15th of April.
I've got a question
1912.
for you. Didn't the
Oh, yeah.
Titanic sink at night?
It did, but this was taken in the morning. So, anyway, so the iceberg had a streak of red paint across its side, indicating that it had been scraped by a passing ship. So there we go.
Someone could have put "Go Faster" stripes on it.
They could have, yeah, they could have, in the middle of the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And if you look at that photo there, the original photo of the iceberg was sold at auction in 2015 for $32,000. So the actual original photo of that there. So that's not bad, is it? The bell that Frederic Fleet rang was recovered from the wreck of the Titanic, and we can actually see, if you go to the next picture, we can actually see the bell on the Titanic. If you go to the next picture there, number 18, that's the bell in its original position in the crow's nest there on the left. And we go to the next picture there, because the bell that Fleet rang was one of the items recovered from the wreck by grave robbers. And that's it. That's the actual original bell. The bell was recovered from the crow's nest on the ocean floor, and the operation practically destroyed the crow's nest. So they go down there and, just basically trash the place. No respect at all. Anyway, okay. After ringing the bell, Fleet, using the crow's nest telephone, contacted the bridge. It was answered by 6th Officer James Paul Moody, who asked Fleet immediately, "What can you see?" And he pronounced the infamous words, "Iceberg, right ahead," warning.
A fucking
Moody
big
passed
iceberg.
Yeah. But why didn't you tell us sooner? Anyway, Moody passed Fleet's warning to First Officer William Murdoch, who was in charge of the bridge, and after the collision, Fleet and Lee remained on duty for 20 more minutes. At 12 a.m., Fleet and Lee were relieved by Alfred Frank Evans and George Hogg. Fleet went down to the boat deck.
Because the other thing they should have done was hit the iceberg head on, wasn't it?
Yeah, because also when Captain Smith was in charge of the Olympic and crashed that, it didn't sink. So a warship, which was designed.
I mean, you would have thought his extensive experience in crashing the Olympic would have come in handy in this instance.
Would have come in handy for his employers and thought, right, don't let this guy anywhere near the Titanic. But instead they put him in charge.
Well, they didn't. They put him back in the Olympic. Maybe that was his punishment. You know, he had to drive the Olympic again.
Probably the unions were probably involved, weren't they? So anyway, okay then. So Fleet went down to the boat deck and was helped prepare to lifeboat number 6.
Did he not go to the poop deck?
Yeah.
Why is a poop
well,
deck?
no. If I was on the Titanic that night, I would have just done it all in my pants. So, second
Why
officer,
is a poop deck anyway?
I don't know. It's a bit like silly mid-on at cricket, isn't it? That's sort of like that's like, what is this? Someone mucking about on the pitch? Don't actually know what it is, but anyway. So second officer Lightoller and put quartermaster Robert Hitchens in charge of the lifeboat and ordered Fleet to board as well. Which I thought, well, hang on a minute. You don't let him on a lifeboat. He's the guy that caused all this. But anyway, that's what happened. So, well,
we got some chat to catch up on. Gizzy Stripe says, I bought a piece of the iceberg that sank the Titanic on eBay for £50. That sounds like a bargain. And Craig Wilson says he's got some plexiglass from the Ocean Gate for sale.
Yeah, should get a good price for it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, okay. As they were lowered away, Hitchens and American socialite Margaret Brown realised that there were only 2 sailors, including Fleet, to man the boat, and they called for another sailor to be sent. As no able seaman was near, Canadian Colonel Arthur Godfrey Puchen volunteered to join the boat.
I swear to God you're making these names up here.
No, that's what he said. He said that he had experience in sailing, and
the names are just beyond ridiculous.
It was Victorian times or Edwardian times, so they did have, Bob Cratchit and shit like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that guy said he had sailing experience. I'm not sure I believe him, but he said I got sailing experience, so they let him on the lifeboat. So anyway.
Well, was this like the extent of job interviews back then? It's like, are you a bridge builder? Yeah, I've got experience doing that. All right, you're hired.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, he was.
I'm a surgeon. Trust me.
Yep, I know what I'm doing. He was ordered by Lightoller to reach the boat by climbing down a rope, so he did. Okay, then. So that's where we
thanks
are.
For that piece of information.
They boarded the lifeboat. So, but where on the Titanic was lifeboat number 6 located before it was launched, I hear you ask?
Yeah.
Well, okay then. I can show you. So let's have a look at the next video clip. I can actually show you this. So go to the next video clip there, please, Hemi.
Next video clip.
Yeah, not that one. No, we'll look at that in a minute.
Not yet.
We'll look at the next clip, number 4. So let's have a look at this.
Hold on one second.
This is an informative, educational. Is
this lifeboat number 6 location? Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, that's it's all.
Do that.
Here we go.
Post and go. Run VT.
Nice. Right, okay. So, let's have a look. So, as we can see, we've got my own. This is my own model of the Titanic. Quite nice, isn't it? Quite an accurate model. And what we're going to do, we'll have a look at the actual location of lifeboat number 6, where the lifeboat that Frederic Fleet actually was on as the Titanic sank. So let's have a look. So as we can see, we've got this is the port side of the boat. That's the forward port side, and we can see the row of lifeboats along the top of there. And Frederic fleet was in lifeboat number 6, which was this one here, the third one along from the front. So 1, 2, 3. So yeah, that's where his life was saved. It was actually the 6th lifeboat to leave the Titanic on that night, and it was launched around 12:40 a.m. Though the lifeboat had a maximum capacity of 65 people, it was actually launched with only 23 people in it, so lives were lost there. And it was picked up at around 8 a.m. by the Carpathia. So yeah, so that's the location of lifeboat number 6. We can see there. Oh, nice fact. But this isn't my only model. We can have a look at some other models. Let's see whilst we're here. I've got this one here. We have a look. There we go. The ghost ship, Mary Celeste. So quite a nice.
Did you have a subscription for Knackered Ships magazine?
That one.
I like
And
ships.
what else have we got? The Loch Ness Monster. There we are. Look at that one.
Yeah,
That's the other
I've
one.
painted a
Monster.
Titanic model.
And we also have the Frankenstein monster. There he is. Notice I say the Frankenstein monster. That is the correct terminology, not Frankenstein, because Frankenstein was actually the scientist, not the monster. So
It's like
make
people
sure you
keep
get
calling
that right.
vacuum as a Hoover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. See, so yeah, I thought I'd show you some of my other models as well. I've got lots. We could sit here all night looking at them. But if you want to own your own model of Night of number 6, you can actually buy this one. We can see there
So
on the screen.
I don't know whether to
There you go.
ask this now or at the end, but Alphabet Cat says, "Do you think Frederic Fleet was a patsy though, like Lee Harvey Oswald, Chapman, etc.?" Considering, I think, to be fair, I think the captain usually in most media he takes the most blame, doesn't he? The captain does.
Yeah, but obviously, Fleet should have seen the iceberg. It was really his fault. I don't think, yeah, Captain Smith as well. Yeah, maybe he should have been more careful. But yeah, ultimately, the Fleet should have seen that iceberg sooner. So he is the one. Don't really like the guy myself, to be honest. I haven't got a lot of time for him, but we'll persist. You can see that model there. I haven't got this model. I'd like that one. But that is 85 quid if you want one of those. You can find it on eBay. That is lifeboat number 6. That must be Fleet at the front there doing something. But anyway, okay. So, once away from the sinking ship, lifeboat number 6 tried to reach the lights of a ship in the distance, thought to be the SS Californian.
How would they know the Californian was ready to come and ready to pick them up?
Yeah, the Californian couldn't give a shit, could he? Could they? But anyway.
No, I thought the Californian was trying to warn them, wasn't it? No, it's the Carpathian that was trying to warn them, wasn't it?
No, the Carpathian rescued them. The Californian did warn them. They sent them a message by radio saying, "Watch out for ice." And then, because ice was so bad,
wasn't the actual message "Watch out for ice"? Wink, wink.
But the Californian actually stopped that night because there was so much ice.
Yeah,
so they stopped for the night, and then they did see. They were about 50 miles from Titanic. They did see a commotion in the distance. The radio operator actually switched off the radio about 10 minutes before Titanic hit the iceberg. So there was that. Otherwise, they could have made radio contact if they'd still been working. But he went to bed. So
the nautical note smells a bit fishy, says Craig Wilson.
Anyway, okay. While Hitchens remained at the tiller, Fleet and Poochen managed the oars. Arguments and problems arose in boat number 6 as Quartermaster Hitchens kept insulting and mistreating the rowers, including Margaret Brown and Helen Churchill Candy. Later in the night, there was an argument about whether to return for survivors, with Hitchens warning against returning for fear of being swamped by swimmers. The lifeboat finally reached the RMS Carpathia by 6 a.m. on Monday the 15th of April. And
a photo was taken of lifeboat number 6 as it approached the Carpathia. So if you look at the next picture, we can actually see. Obviously, that's a model what we're looking at.
Oh, that's handy that someone had a photograph,
well, there's quite a
camera
few,
ready.
I'm surprised no one actually took photos on the Titanic, you know, on its voyage and during the sinking, because you could, you know, this kind of tech.
Suspicious.
But no one
mind
did.
Mind you, most of the cameras are probably back at their quarters, weren't they?
Yeah, but you know, because now, you know, there's. Look at 9/11. Look how much footage of that there is. But look at, you know, that's these pictures were taken. There's quite a few pictures of the lifeboats. That's lifeboat number 6, and Fleet is the person at the front of the boat, they believe, bending forward there. So there we go. That's that. So that's the general view, and also we can see Fleet in the next picture with some of the other crew that survived the sinking when they were back on dry land. So go to the next picture there. He's Henry number 22, and we can have a look at that.
So
there
he's
he is.
Third one in from the left, isn't he?
No, yeah, he's front row, second left, looking a bit smug with himself, to be honest. And I think really he should get that smirk off his face, because I'm not impressed with what he did. Anyway, after the disaster,
he had a bad day at the office that day.
Yeah, well. After the disaster, Fleet underwent 2 inquiries. First, the US inquiry, and secondly, the British Wreck Commissioner's inquiry. In the United States, he was questioned by Senator William Alden Smith, to whom he repeatedly said that had they been equipped with binoculars, the disaster would not have happened. Before the British inquiry...
Bad workman always blames the tools, don't they?
Exactly. Before the British inquiry, he underwent a long examination but refused to answer many of the questions. Fleet was starting to get pissed off with all the questioning and took on a sulky demeanour, and he was uncooperative and started giving stroppy answers and just generally showing off. And we can actually see a picture. If you go to the next picture there, we can see Fleet during questioning. Let's have a look.
20 grand a year to be like a fucking knobhead.
Number 23. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. There he is. That's Fleet in his inquiry. So, look at that. Lord Mersey, chairman of the commission, concluded Fleet's interrogation by telling him that he was grateful for his willingness to answer questions despite his weariness when responding to every question. Fleet replied with a sarcastic thanks.
Did he go, this is so unfair?
Well, he followed this up by saying, "You're not my real dad. I hate you."
This is so unfair.
Yeah. After the Titanic shit had died down a bit, Fleet went on to serve on the Titanic's sister ship, RMS Olympic.
Was he a lookout there?
Well, I think I'm not sure. I wouldn't have trusted him. I would have just given him some, stuck him in the mail room or something.
I wouldn't be interested in mopping the fucking deck.
Yeah. I would have sacked him. Said, sorry, this is not on what you did. So
maybe he had some kind of knowledge that.
Anyway,
and they were keeping him sweet.
But he went on to work on the Olympic before leaving the White Star Line in August 1912 after noticing that the company treated those involved with the Titanic differently and were generally not very popular.
Well, why the fuck? Why would they do that?
Well, nobody likes a ship's sinker, do they?
No. I should imagine they don't exactly love people who have sunk ships.
Exactly. Anyway, plagued with guilt, Fleet went on to have a hard life. Friends and family disowned him, and people would cross the street and not make eye contact with him.
Boo fucking who.
The trauma fucked him up in the head, and he suffered flashbacks from the event. He could also no longer maintain an erection, though his wife said that she had no hard feelings. Come on. I'll say that again. He could also no longer maintain an erection.
I did laugh. Hobbit laugh.
All right. Give me car, that is. Come on. Anyway, okay then.
There's my Jimmy Carr laugh.
For the next 24 years, Fleet sailed for different shipping companies, including the Union Castle Line. Fleet served on merchant ships throughout World War One, and later he was the ship's...
I mean, putting that CV comes across your deck, you're going to snap him up, aren't you? Where have you worked? Oh, on the Titanic. Oh, this one's a keeper.
This is the best one, though.
Go on then.
Later, he was ship's lookout again on the Olympic during the 1920s and early 30s. Oh, Christ. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Because
Anyway,
he did such a good job the first time.
it's like Barings Bank re-employing Nick Leeson.
Yeah.
So, anyway, when he left
No,
sea...
that's a reference for the kids, Ian.
You know, that was-
There's about
quite
3
recent.
people in my audience that get that joke, I think.
I thought it was generally older people who listen to this programme.
I don't know, I
Anyway.
suppose so.
Anyway, when he left sea in 1936, he was hired by Harland and Wolff to work in the company's shipyards in Southampton. And he served again in World War II. So, yeah, they kept him on land. Later, closer to in retirement, Fleet experienced financial difficulties and was living in his brother-in-law's house. And we can look at the next picture. We can see Fleet in his later years. Let's go to the next picture, number 24 there.
Go on then.
See what he looked like when he was older. Yeah. So we'll see that. Still got a guilty look on his face because of what he did.
Yeah.
So, and he supplemented his meagre income.
Or rather, what he didn't do.
Yeah.
Well, he did. Well, he did, didn't he? Come on.
But I
So
mean,
you-
say it's like his dereliction
right,
of
he didn't do
duty.
his job. Right, he did.
Yes.
I gotcha. So, when he supplemented his meagre income by selling newspapers on the streets of Southampton. And if we look at the next picture,
Well, did he manage to do that successfully, did he? Or...
Well, you can't really fail at that. We
I
can look at the
don't
next
know.
picture. We can actually look at that. So, that's Fleet there on the right of the photo, wearing glasses.
Yeah. And his trademark hat.
Yeah, fuck knows who the other cunt is. But Fleet would often be taunted by passers-by, such as school children shouting things like, "Seen any icebergs lately, Fred?" at him, things like that. Yeah. And other taunts such as fuckwit, blind fucker, and wanker were also thrown his way.
Are you smelly?
Exactly. And if we go to the next picture there, we can actually see a news article at the time reporting on this. So we can have a look. Go to the next picture, number 26. Look at
Echo
that.
Man Fred sells the news he once made.
Exactly. And it's like they're even taunting him too, and like rubbing his face in it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay, we've seen that. Let's have another look at. So we go to the next picture there, number 27. Let's have a look at Frederic Fleet again. Number 27.
Is that headline on there? Is that Milk Depot with shambles after Fred Fleet joins?
It's all fucking going on in Southampton, isn't it? Oh no, the milk depot is a shambles. So, what are we going to do?
Humanity.
Yeah. So, anyway, I had I wanted fat-free milk, and they gave me semi-skimmed this morning. What's going on at the depot?
Absolute shambles.
Anyway, but no. Back to this though. It's an interesting shot. All right. Okay, we're looking at that. But where was the location where Fleet was selling his newspapers as per this photo?
Is that bloke saying, "Is this even the right paper, you twat"? Yeah. Is that what he's saying to him?
Yeah. He's been shortchanged, probably.
Yeah.
So, okay then. After a bit of a detective work, I found out that he sold his newspapers on a street called Pound Tree Road in Southampton. I located the road on Google Maps and found that it wasn't a long road and had a park area behind it, as we can see in this photo.
Yeah.
If we study the photo, okay, we've got Fleet and his newspaper stand there on the right, the customer on the left. If we look behind the two men, we can see some trees. A thicker one behind the customer, jutting out above his right shoulder there. Yeah. And then, next to that, we've got a tree veering to the left.
And then parked cars along that road.
And next to that, we have a tree veering to the right.
Yeah.
And behind the trees, we have parked cars, as you said.
Yeah.
Though the picture was taken over 60 years ago, trees don't actually change that much over time. So, with the trees and the parked cars as my reference points, I made it my mission to locate the spot Frederic Fleet sold his newspapers. Let's see how we get on. Run the next video clip, please. Number 5. Let's
right,
go.
Number 5, right.
Let's have a look and
Find
see.
it first, hold on.
Can't wait for this. Clip number 5.
Copy link address.
Here we go. Nice.
Chrome. Paste the
Chrome it
go,
is. And we're
pop
away.
it out. There we go.
Let's see.
Okay.
There we go. We're playing.
So here we are on Pound Tree Lane in Southampton, and in his later years, Titanic lookout Frederic Fleet supported his meagre pension by selling newspapers from a roadside stand to passers-by. So I made it my mission to locate the actual spot where Fleet stood with his newspaper stand, and my research took me to this area, Pound Tree Road, which is where I'm stood now. It's not a long stretch of road, and there's a parkland greenery located either side, so yeah. Now the thing is, I stumbled upon this photo taken in the early 60s. Let's have a look. There we go. So that's Fleet there, selling newspapers to a customer, and if you look behind them, there's a large tree behind the customer. Then a little bit further down on the row of trees, there's one veering to the left, and behind that there's one veering to the right. Plus there's parked cars behind those trees. So if we look, we can actually see there. I'm going to go across.
I was going to say, you need to be a bit closer now.
As we can see, here's the thick tree, and behind the thicker tree there's one veering to the left, one veering to the right.
Ooh,
Behind
mission
there
solved.
is some parked cars. We can just have another look there, see? This would be the spot, I'm sure.
Ooh.
So yeah, I think this here, where I'm stood, would have been the spot that Frederic Fleet would have stood selling his newspapers not long before he died. And it's a very eerie feeling being stood here, but location found, job done.
Are we going to do this in one, Ian? Because I think we're only on clip 5 out of 20.
We'll get there, yeah. We pick up some momentum. We can always overrun it. I think we could get through it. Put the next picture up then. So I found the location. We can go to a scene, a scene comparison. Picture number 28. There we go. And you can see there. Obviously, the tree's a bit wider because it is 60 years later, but definitely, I think I found it. So that's good. Yeah, so pick up some momentum now. Anyway, one of the few pleasures that Frederic Fleet enjoyed in his later life was to drown his sorrows, pardon the pun, and get pissed up on cheap beer in the Fremantle Working Men's Club in Southampton. And if you look at the next picture, we can actually see Fleet having a pint there. Number 29, we can have a look at that. And there he is.
Looks like he's on lookout for once, the fucking lazy.
Yeah, it's a bit fucking late for that, mate.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so there he is in his favourite working men's club. But where is the Fremantle Working Men's Club? As I want to go for a pint.
Is this a video or a picture?
It's a picture first, then a video.
Okay.
Never want to disappoint. I did some detective work, and I found out that the Fremantle Working Men's Club was located at 52 to 54 Waterloo Road, Fremantle, and we can see it there. The club is no longer open, but the building still stands. So I made it my mission to locate the building and see the place where Frederic Fleet once drank. So let's go to the next clip, number 6.
It was this building we're looking at here on Waterloo Road, Southampton, which was formerly the Fremantle Working Men's Club. So that's what the building was. So you can see that there. And it was in this club in his later life that Frederic Fleet would get pissed up on the cheap booze they had on offer to try and blot out the memory of what happened. So we've actually got a picture here. Just bear with me a moment. Yeah, we got a picture of actually of Frederic. There we go. There's Frederic actually in the club having a jar. A bit windy, but yeah, there he is. That's, just taken in the club, and there's Frederic there and having a pint or something. So yeah. So that's the. I actually fancied. Let's have a closer look at it. So there we go. I fancied popping in for a pint myself, but as you can see, the club is in a state of disrepair. Maybe, yeah, I think it's actually being converted into flats. There's still work to be done there, as we can see. But no, the club is closed now. Have a look around the side. Yeah, no access there. But yeah, unfortunately, it's closed. Everything. It seemed that everything that man touched turned to shit. So let's see what we got there. But so there you have it. Here we have the Fremantle Working Men's Club, the former watering hole of Titanic lookout Frederic Fleet. Nice. Yeah.
There we go. Did that actually play? I'm not sure that played.
Yeah, played fine.
It did it?
Yeah.
It did. Okay then, because I just
sorry.
noticed. Yeah, alright, good. I just noticed in the chat. Alright, fair enough.
Oh, twat. No.
Shake your baddie says. Shake your baddie says no video.
No, I left the picture. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Alright, let's have a quick look then. Just sorry about that, viewers. We'll have another look.
I'll play that. I'll play that again on mute while you talk, Ian.
Yeah. Alright then.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so anyway, that's what happened. So shortly after Christmas, on the oh, there we go. We can see the Fremantle Working Men's Club. Yeah, so it's working now. So Shake Your Baddie hopefully is seeing what he wants. But yeah, I actually located the club and got to see where Frederic Fleet once drank. So pretty good. So shortly after Christmas, on the 28th of December, 1964, Fleet's wife died, and the brother evicted him from the house. So consequently, Fleet fell into a downward spiral of depression, and he returned to his brother-in-law's house.
You would have thought he'd have seen that coming, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Did he fall into a burning ring of fire?
Yeah. But he returned to his brother-in-law's house and hanged himself in the garden of the house on the 10th of January 1965, aged 77. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. That was how it all ended. We can just see his...
I just think if the house was called Gethsemane, then he would have hung himself in the garden of Gethsemane, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Much like Judas.
He was quite popular with the women though, because he was well hung.
God.
But
They're getting worse, Ian.
Yeah, that's the best I could come up with.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the club he used to. Looking at the club there that he used to drink in.
Yeah.
Working men's clubs are a thing of the past these days. This one's it's a nice building actually.
Can't have men-only spaces these days. Not even in a gay bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, but that was.
Looks like someone's in there. That's not locked, is it?
I don't know, but the upstairs, the windows of the upstairs did look quite new, and I think it looked like it's a nice building to convert into flats.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was good to follow in the footsteps again of Frederic Fleet, as he would have walked that path.
Something else he's fucked up. Big trail of fucking shag knackered stuff.
Exactly, of dog shit. So, yeah, so there we go. So if you look at the next, we'll look at the next picture there, Hemi, and this is a report in the newspaper about the tragedy, another tragedy he caused on himself. So go to picture number 31. We'll have a look at that. And as we can see there, not that, that's the one. So Titanic lookout commits suicide. So there, that's what that. Basically, it was a sad ending to a sad life. Getting evicted from his house was the last straw, and Fleet could take no more. Okay then, but where was this house, I hear you ask? Ooh. Right then, okay. My journey then took me to a street called Norman Road, Fremantle, and it was on this street that Frederic Fleet lived in his later life. So it was time to locate exactly where he lived. Let's see how I got on. Play the next clip, please, Hemi, number 7.
Is it just me? But when I hear the term Fremantle, I think, oh yeah, the place in Australia.
There is a place, yeah, well, basically, go to clip number 7 there.
Hold on a sec. It's
Australia Australia does have a lot of the same names, though. I used to live in, where did I live? King's Cross, Australia. Camden.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Glebe. Lots of Paddington. So yeah,
here we go.
Bondi Beach.
So here we are on Norman Road, Southampton, and the house we are looking at there is the former home of Titanic lookout Frederic Fleet, and that's where he spent his final
days. That looks
days.
like he's been rebuilt.
Let's have a look there.
I think he even his old house fell down.
Yeah.
So.
The guy was a fucking disaster.
I understand the house has undergone considerable reconstruction since Fred lived there, so probably looked a bit different in his day. But no, that's interesting though, isn't it? If we look there, you can see they've got a plaque there.
Look out, Cod, that's just cruel, isn't it?
Which says, let's have a closer look. Hopefully no one will be angry at me, but let's have a look. So there we are, Lookout Cottage, with a picture of the Titanic there. So the owners of the house recognise that its history.
They do know he hung himself in the back garden. Fucking noisy bastard traffic.
So unfortunately though, Frederic committed suicide in the back garden.
Are they just trolling Fred in
1965, age 77. And it would be good if I could actually. I don't think I can actually get to the back garden from here.
Anyway, Ian, you should have knocked on the door and said, "You fucking idiots! You should know the fourth chimney don't speak."
The game over phrase is for both on YouTube.
Of
what is
Titanic?
It's one that goes, yeah.
Frederic Fleet.
The peaceful sunset.
Yeah. The maid.
And there we go. So I found his house. So, and what we can do, we can have a look. I did take a couple of photos. Go to the next photo there, Hemi, number 32. We can actually see a still photo of the house. Go to the next one, show the viewers that.
There we go. Lookout Cottage.
It has been rebuilt since he lived there, but that was where he actually.
So even his old house fell down. Is that what we're saying?
It was his fault.
Is he Frank? Is he fucking Frank Spencer or something?
If you go to the next picture, we can actually see a closer look at that plaque there. Lookout Cottage. So that's what you say. That's what you say if you see George Michael coming. Lookout Cottage. Run away.
Can I just say, I was looking for a song by Prefab Sprout called "I Remember When." And I thought, oh, George Michael sung that song. So I listened to every single George Michael song before realising, one, I really don't like George Michael's music, and two, it wasn't sung by him.
Yeah, he's shit.
I'm glad I eventually figured out who it was. Prefab Sprout are good.
Yeah. What a mistake could a maker.
Yeah. So anyway, I saw the front of the house, but ideally I wanted to see the back garden where Frederic Fleet took his own life. My visit was far from over. So as I was snooping around,
did you get a cup of tea?
I was snooping around around Frederic Fleet's house and trying to get into the back garden when I came across an interesting sight in the street behind. If you play the next clip, number 8, please, Hemi. We're gonna.
Oh God, I dread. Content warning. I should imagine for this. I don't know what Ian's found there.
Well, no, it's fine. Public view. So yeah, it should be good. So go into the next interesting.
We do not
next
condone breaking and entering, trespass, or anything that Ian's done.
Even if it's really fun.
Yeah, even if it's fun.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm just
Playing
in the street behind Frederic Fleet's house, and there's another house here. If we have a look with a plaque on it, it says, let's have a look. I see no car, there's no one in. It says William F. Kingscote, steward first class aboard the Titanic, who perished in the 1912 disaster, lived here. So there you go. Another bit of Titanic.
Don't you think we should do some sort of fanfic Titanic film where it's where
Nice.
Fred does away with Kingscote because I don't know he's cat shit on his lawn or something.
Where they just fall out. But yeah, interesting though. There's another one there. So that's what I found there. I stumbled across the house of another Titanic victim by mistake. William Ford Kingscote, 43, who was first class steward, receiving a monthly wage of £3.15. Kingscote died in the sinking of the Titanic. His body, if recovered, was never identified.
Ooh.
Now, okay, that was good. Yeah, so that was good. However, whilst I was filming that house, right,
Yeah.
an angry resident approached me and told me to stop filming people's houses, and then he got quite aggressive with me, so I left. All right.
I should have done the audit thing on him. You're watching those audit videos.
Yeah, and they were a complete pain in the arse. Anyway, never one to be deterred. I was determined to get some film of where Frederic Fleet committed suicide. So later in the day, I returned, and there was no one around. My chance and got some footage. So, Hemi, if you play the next clip,
This
number 9,
is Steve Feltham areas we're going into now, isn't it?
Yeah, let's see how I got on. Play clip number 9. Let's see.
Here we go. Run
Right,
VT.
so what I've done
We're going.
here is I've gone around the back of Frederic Fleet's house, and you can see there that would need to go
Again, we don't condone trespass.
where he committed suicide.
even for a giggle.
I came here earlier
Yeah.
today, but there was an angry resident approached me and said that he would beat me up if I didn't fuck off. So I left, but I'm back now, and there's no one around. So as we can see, the back of the house is there, and it would be where that is.
Interdimensional
there. So
Lizard
that's
said
where-
this is a
where
recurring
Frederic
theme with these
was,
investigations. Yeah, I think Ian's
the
just got
bucket
one of those
truck.
faces.
So yeah, that's what he was
That's a
doing.
decent garden.
What,
Why don't they
eh?
tidy the fucker up, lazy cunts?
Oh, fuck, he's back. Oh shit.
Is that really him?
He's back.
Did you
Yeah,
leg
he's
it?
gonna Yeah, I had to. He was going to punch me.
What's he?
So yeah, okay, I did manage I got some footage there, but obviously my videos were cut short and things were getting a bit risky there. That guy came over again and he wanted to punch me, so I thought I'd better not come back. So, but you get the idea with that.
Yeah.
Luckily though, I did manage to see the garden when I was checking online and to do some research, bordering on obsession in the end, and I found the house on Zoopla. So if you show the next picture there, please, Hemi,
Yeah.
picture number 34, you can actually see the house there on Zoopla, and what we've got there.
That's been quite heavily remodeled, isn't it? That house?
Yeah, and you can actually see in the bottom left, you can actually see the sink that Frederic Fleet once pissed in, because he was probably a sink pisser as well, the Cobbit. So it's a recently converted 3 up, 2 down with a loft conversion, spacious garden and outhouse, and it sold in January of this year for 275,000. Zoopla did have a number of pictures of the house, including some of the garden. Go to the next picture. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
You can actually see where Frederic Fleet killed himself, unfortunately. But
Not a lot
this
of
is
room
what
to
we've
be
got to
hanging
do.
yourself around there, is there?
Yeah, so
The
it
boy
would have been
did well.
somewhere in that area. He ended it all. Probably looks a bit different these days. And in the next picture there, to the next picture, number 36, and we can see a view looking down the garden.
Yeah.
And if you look at that there, that was probably the last thing that Frederic Fleet ever saw.
Unless he was spinning on the rope, you don't know.
Yeah. Fleet was buried in the pauper's grave at Hollybrook Cemetery in Southampton, and this grave remained unmarked until 1993, when a headstone bearing an engraving of the Titanic was erected through donations.
What year was the
raised by
James Cameron
Titanic.
film? That was 96, wasn't it?
97, yeah, 97.
97.
Wasn't it? So, yeah, it was released. So, anyway, a Titanic headstone was erected at his grave by the Titanic Historical
The
Society.
only Titanic erection he'd ever had, am I right?
Yeah, well, his wife said she had no hard feelings.
Yeah.
Why did that get a better laugh now than it did earlier? I don't understand.
I don't know.
But, okay, now it's time for the money shot. This is what we came for. I made it my mission to locate the grave of Frederic Fleet. So I headed to Hollybrook Cemetery in Southampton. Let's see how we got on. Play the next clip, please, Hemi. Number 10.
Yeah, just doing it.
Number 10. We'll have a look at that. Let's have a look. Here we go.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
There he is.
So here we are in Hollybrook Cemetery, Southampton. And what's this we've got? Let's go and have a look. So there, the final resting place of Titanic lookout Frederic Fleet. So let's have a look at his grave then. Here we go. That's where he's buried. There. Fleet was originally buried in an unmarked pauper's grave, but that was rectified
He's lucky to be in a churchyard.
1993 when the Titanic Historical Society paid for this gravestone to mark his burial place, which was a nice gesture. Let's go and have a closer look there, see what we got. And Frederic Fleet lookout, 1887 to 1965, RMS Titanic. So yeah, there we go. After the disaster, Fleet said that if he had had binoculars on that fateful night, then he would have seen the iceberg. So, but he would have seen the iceberg sooner, and the collision would have been avoided. So the binoculars that the lookout should have had that night were locked away in a cabinet at the time of the collision. Titanic's second officer, David Blair, was in possession of the key to the cabinet. But fortunately for Blair, he was replaced by a more experienced second officer when the ship was berthed in Southampton. Blair vacated the ship but accidentally took the key with him, leaving lookouts with no access to binoculars, unable to see the iceberg until it was too late. So instead of flowers for the grave, I've actually got a pair of binoculars here that we can give to Frederic, and there we go. Put those on there.
Fucking troll.
Hopefully
Trolling the
see
dead.
the iceberg with those. So there we are. Better late than never. Let's have a closer look at those there.
Yeah, so there we go. Hopefully he appreciates that now. So they were only a cheap
Right.
pair.
Well, they're only about
Good
100 years too late anyway, Ed.
money. Yeah, and also those cost £1, those binoculars, whereas I've got my personal pair cost me 30 quid. So, pretty good. Oh, no, nice. So there we go. We've seen the final resting place of Frederic Fleet in Hollybrook Cemetery and paid homage to him. And that was my journey, the end of the journey, as I followed in the footsteps of Frederic Fleet. However, as I walked through the graveyard back to my car, I came across a bonus grave. So, Emmy, let's just look at the next picture, number 37.
Oh,
Let's
next
have a
picture
quick look.
first.
Boneless grave, is that like a new
Yeah,
KFC
it's
special?
A Brucey bonus.
We'll have a look at the next picture, number 37. This is the bonus grave. Whilst I was just came across this whilst I was... There we go. That's right.
Bonus grave
the
or
date.
boner's grave?
Yeah, exactly. From the days when it was okay to commit sexual assault None other than sexual pervert Benny Hill is buried in the same cemetery.
Well,
as
we're
Frederic
still living
Fleet.
in the area where it's okay to commit sexual assault if you're from a minority.
Right.
Class.
So anyway, pretty good. Go on to the next clip, number 11. We'll have a look at the final resting place of Benny Hill. Wasn't expecting this. We'll have a look anyway while we're there. So,
Well, you never know, do
play
you?
the next clip. Yeah, number 11.
Apparently
Pretty good.
he died quite upset, didn't he? Because Ben Elton decided he was going to try and ruin his fucking legacy, didn't he?
The comedy was
Right.
a bit dated, though.
So we're still in Hollybrook
Yeah, it's still quite funny.
cemetery.
Ridiculous
Although not a
spiteful
Titanic
Ben
grave.
Elton.
It wasn't funny.
It's in the same graveyard as Frederic
Ben Elton
Fleet,
wasn't
so I
funny,
thought
though.
we would have a look whilst we were here. None other than the legendary TV funny man and sexual pervert Benny Hill. Let's have a look. There we go. The grave there.
Born Alfred Hawthorne Hill.
Yeah.
So he should have been
For
Freddie
many
Hill.
years, his quirky characters and his light-hearted approach to rape gave him a special place in the public's heart. The Benny Hill show ran on TV for many years, but in 1989, TV bosses cancelled the show when they realised that sexual assault wasn't that amusing. So there we go. The grave of Benny Hill. Nice.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's just got a bit sidetracked there, but I was a bit starstruck in the cemetery. Okay, so interestingly, over 300 dead bodies were recovered after the sinking of the Titanic, and none of them are buried in Southampton. They were all either buried at sea or buried in Canada. There are a number of graves of Titanic survivors around the
Why
various...
Canada?
Can you see that
Because that's
picture in the
where they-
bottom left? It's Benny Hill on the Benny Hill
Yeah.
blacked up as
I thought the destination of the Titanic was New York.
We've set off an algorithm. The destination of the Titanic was New York had it not sank. But as it sank, they had to recover the dead bodies that they could find and take them somewhere, which happened to be Canada. So, anyway,
There's
there's a
plenty
number-
of land for graveyards in Canada.
well, there's a number of graves of Titanic survivors around the various cemeteries of Southampton.
I
like
suppose it
Frederic
depends
Fleet.
whether the families had enough money to repatriate the bodies, I suppose.
Well, it's just a case you couldn't, they had to leave them there. And the names of victims are added to existing family graves, but no actual victims are buried there.
Right.
So,
okay.
you with me? I would have liked to visit some more graves, but time ran out and I had a camping holiday to enjoy rather than hang
You had
around
to go and get
graveyards
pissed, didn't you?
and snoop around people's houses.
You didn't want to be like
So-
Jimmy Savile hanging around the graveyards, did you?
Yes, exactly. And if I filmed any more graves, we'd be sat here all fucking night. So, anyway, let's move on. What I did find, though, as I followed in the footsteps of Frederic Fleet, was a number of Titanic memorials around Southampton. So we can have a look at a few of them now.
Yeah,
sort of
ready
like
to go.
come in. Okay, first memorial I came across was the Engineers Memorial in memory of the Titanic engineers, none of whom survived.
Right.
So kick it off. Let's have a
So
look.
here we are in Southampton, and we're looking at the Titanic Engineers Memorial.
What's that angel got in her hands? It looks like she's
Quite
got
an elaborate,
twin fucking pistols in her hands. Looks like it's something out of a John
Zoom in a
Woo
bit.
film.
Two of the engineers who perished that night, and no doubt an angel
Oh, Reef.
seeing over them. Let's have a look.
He's got Jim
It says
Gallows.
there. It says. To the memory of the engineer officers of the RMS Titanic who showed their can't read that, it's a bit faded, but
That's high conception of duty.
anyway.
High
it's,
conception of duty, Ian.
I can't give a
lists
shit.
there
something like
either
that.
side.
Yeah, something like that.
The,
And
they
their
died.
heroism,
All
They
is
the
it?
died.
engineers who perished. on that April night.
Yeah, and they're all
So
this.
here we
The
are.
name's pretty good.
The Titanic Engineers Memorial.
Pretty good though, eh? Pretty impressive.
Yeah. We're doing the next one after this.
Yeah, so what we'll do, just a short distance from the Engineers Memorial, I came across the Titanic Musicians Memorial. Yeah, in memory of the Titanic musicians who foolishly played music.
Right, so we're
There
in
we go.
Southampton and we're looking
Here
at
we go.
There's something quite
musicians'
noble about playing
memorial.
music in dire circumstances.
Fucking stupid.
as the ship was sinking that night. The musicians, rather than getting into a lifeboat like I would have done, they decided to start playing music. Not sure why, but yeah, they all perished that night. So and so this is, whoops, someone's doing a wheel spin behind me. But so yeah, so there we go. That's the lists the musicians there. W. Hartley was the leader of the band, so I'm not sure if it was his idea to play on, but if he asked me to play on that night, I would have told him where to go. So there we are. That's the Titanic Musicians Memorial.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, Anita said, well, you've missed all the fucking lifeboats, right? You might as well play an instrument, you twat. That's what Anita said to you.
Yeah. I'm going to go and lie on a door then. But anyway, okay, the next memorial. Next up is the Titanic Crew Memorial in memory of the crew members.
Yeah, you
who
missed a bit
never
there,
made it.
Ian. You should have somehow put the Ben Hill music over you running away from that bloke who was going to come beat you up.
Ripping women's skirts off in a park. Yeah. Right. So we go to the next memorial. We'll have a look at that. The Titanic Crew Memorial. Let's have a look at that. And this is in memory of the crew members of the ship who never made it.
Why is that one behind bars?
Because kept getting vandalised. And in fact,
Here we are in Southampton at the Titanic Crew Memorial.
Yeah, it's playing.
Let's go and have a look. Let's have a look. Here. Built in 1915, after the disaster, of course. Is there, and originally it was actually a fountain, but after it was built, they thought having a fountain, when you look at the nature of the disaster, was probably a bad idea. So it's no longer.
They should have thought that before they made it. Before they
yeah,
made
they didn't think that through, did they?
The Titanic Crew Memorial. Nice.
They could have done it as a floating sculpture, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could have done. Just one more memorial to see. We'll see the next one.
So what's the
An
stevedore?
unusual. Well, the stevedore were tasked. They were tasked with loading and unloading cargo on to
Okay, so
the Great Ocean Line.
here we are on Hollywood Road
Hollywood.
in Southampton, and I'm looking at the Titanic stevedore statue, which is built in 2009. It's quite a recent one there. Interesting statue. Stevedores were charged with loading and unloading cargo from the Titanic, so it's only fitting that they've got their memorial. Quite unique and eye-catching, isn't it? It's very nice. That it's a shame though that they've built the Titanic stevedore statue in front of what looks like was a complete shithole. So let's have a look. There is another memorial just round the corner here. We'll have a quick look at this one too. Again, I don't quite understand what this place is done. Look at it. It smells of cannabis. Christ. So let's have a look. Someone is smoking strong shit round here. But let's have a look at this one here. So there we go. Another memorial there to the Titanic stevedore, which on the side of the Hollywood house estate. So So yeah.
Oh, I think I
Nice to
know
see.
that. I think I know
Really
what you had
nice.
for Fraser now. The next clip, is it?
Yeah, it's a shame he's not here. But what we're going to do then? So you've seen some memorials, pretty good. There's Southampton's got lots of those. There's just a couple. So okay then. Okay. With all this information about Frederic Fleet and the Titanic, it leaves us with many unanswered questions.
Are you going to attempt to answer these questions, Ian?
Well, the only way to get answers would be to speak to the man himself. But thus far, for Fortean words, I have tried to get interviews with Tim Dinsdale's daughter, Steve Feltham, and Gerwyn Price. I failed on all occasions. I've successfully interviewed no one.
You did get a comment from Steve Feltham, so it wasn't a complete. He knows who you are now. Well, actually, you're quite lucky. He doesn't know who you are.
He doesn't like me. I'm not one to give up easily. And my next target for an interview was with Titanic lookout Frederic Fleet. So basically, I get knocked down, but I get up again. It's
You'll never keep me down.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not good at anything, but I'm persistent.
Do you drink a whiskey drink? Do you drink a cider drink?
Okay.
You drink to sing of the good times, drinks to mind of the sad times. Oh, Danny boy.
Yeah.
Exactly. How can it be possible, though, to interview Frederic Fleet with him being dead and all that? Well, there are ways. And hopefully Fraser is watching.
You like the Cilla Black of 14 words, Ian.
Exactly. Let's go to the next clip. Let's see if we can speak. Frederic Fleet, play. Let's see what happens.
So today we visited some of the key sites as we followed in the footsteps of Frederic Fleet, including the location of his unfortunate death. Now, through the medium of the Ouija board, we are going to try and make contact with the spirit of Frederic Fleet. So, let's focus our energies and put our hands on the board, and we will ask.
Is that you in the white trousers?
See if we can make contact. So let's begin.
I like white trousers. Yes.
I would have thought the amount you drink white trousers is not a very good idea.
Oh, Frederic, are you there? Move the planchette to show us your presence if you are there, Frederic, or any other spirits.
You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to just put your finger on it. You're not even doing it properly, Ian.
Frederic Fleet,
whatever.
There.
Should work anyway.
Have you got a message for us from the afterlife?
You've got to turn it on for it to
cold
work.
On the night of the disaster?
You try to turn it off.
Please tell us.
You try to turn it on and off again, Ian. Turn it off and on again.
How many people were in your lifeboat? Please tell us how many. Would these have been any use for you on that night? Huh? No? Nothing?
Have you got one lens cap on those binoculars?
Maybe they're expensive, so I'd like to keep them covered.
Did you?
Yeah, you only put one on.
No. Did you encounter any hardships after you returned from the disaster? Please tell us. Yes or no?
You're supposed to use that with caution, Ian, not abandon.
Perhaps he's engaged.
Do you regret choosing a career as a seaman? Were there a lot of bad vibes in boat number 6? Is the James Cameron film an accurate description of what happened, or is it just a load of wank? Come on.
Imagine you're that woman, you've had your family and everything, and you still get tingles for a boy that drowned decades ago.
You've been Steve Feltham by the dead, Ian.
So yeah. Well, yeah, that's
conclusive proof.
Yeah, well, I don't know. The spirits weren't there that day. Didn't have any luck there. So so basically, yeah, there was maybe I don't know. It just didn't work. It didn't work. So the question we must ask, though, after looking at the Titanic disaster and the submarine incidents, is basically, is there another way of contacting them? So we tried the medium of the Ouija board, but we failed, and we weren't ready to give up. The Ouija board is just one method of contacting the dead. So then we next tried to contact Frederic Fleet via the more modern method
Right, okay.
of the electronic
So we failed
spirit box.
We failed to contact Frederic Fleet via the means of the Ouija board. However, all is not lost, as we're now going to try and contact him using modern technology in form of the spirit box. This is what we have here. So let's see what happens then. Let's just intrude it in there on the airways. There we go, coming through there. Hope we can hear that okay. Okay, Frederic, can you speak to us through the spirit box? Or something?
Something there.
Something just... Frederic, are you there? Can you speak to us through the spirit box, please?
It was almost a hint of a presence, wasn't it?
Turn it up a bit.
I think he's trying to come through from the other side.
Can you let us know, Frederic, if you're there? Turn up a bit, maybe. On the spirit box.
I figured it out, Ian. You're not doing it at night in the dark.
Yeah, we have to leave
Just
before
seem
dark.
to be getting interference. Frederic, could you speak to us, please? Over the airwaves.
He's too busy looking out in the afterlife, Ian.
Looking out for the front door.
I got a message from the chat. This is spooky. You've been absolutely felted, Ian.
Don't trust these devices. I think, yeah.
Oh,
Nah,
something
fuck it,
happened.
let's go for a pint.
Yeah, so anyway, that was no luck there either. So anyway, okay, so we failed again to interview someone. This is
Oh, so you tried a psychic next then?
I don't know. Maybe find someone less famous. But anyway, the question we must ask after looking at the Titanic disaster and the recent submarine incident is, how could the victims be forewarned of the impending doom and avoid death? The most prominent prediction of the Titanic disaster was the 1898 novella Futility, written by Morgan Robertson. The story tells of the biggest ship in the world sailing across the Atlantic. It hits an iceberg and sinks, causing much deaths, and it didn't have enough lifeboats. The ship in the book was called the Titan. So the name was more or less the same. The book was published 14 years before the Titanic disaster, causing many to believe that the author was psychic. And I covered this in more detail in the previous Titanic episode on Fortean words. And we can actually see, if you show the next picture, number 38 there, Hemi, we can actually see a copy, a picture of the book there. Additionally, The OceanGate submarine was called the Titan. So could Morgan Robertson also have foretold? He could also have foretold that disaster as well. The submarine Titan didn't hit an iceberg, and it just imploded because it was shit. So, what other ways were there for the passengers of the Titanic to see into the future? Well, during my visit to Southampton, I paid a visit to the Sea City Museum, which catalogues the city's nautical history and has a dedicated exhibition to the Titanic. Interestingly, though, next to the museum gift shop are a selection of early 20th century fortune-telling machines, the type of machine that passengers of the Titanic would have had access to prior to their voyage.
Is this voyage going to go well?
Could these machines have... Exactly. Could the machines have forewarned them of their pending disaster?
Yeah.
Probably not. They're just a con. However, this didn't stop me from having my fortune taken by the machines. Play the next clip. Let's see how I got on.
Right.
Here we go.
So I'm going to have my fortune told by the gypsy. Here she is. Let's have a go then. Date of birth is April.
Shouldn't you have done that before you put 50p in?
A bit of a rip-off. Let's do it then.
Is the gypsy going to offer to time
Is that an
up
early
my
sex
drive,
robot?
Perhaps?
Could be.
She's got the
here we go.
thing down pat, hasn't she?
That's what we've got. Let's see.
What, just throws, spits, gobs it out onto the floor?
Yeah.
For several years now, the stars which govern your life have been moving towards a position which will grant you happiness beyond your wildest dreams. This will happen next Thursday, which is tomorrow. You will be waiting for a bus.
No, next Thursday.
When a golden coach drawn by 6 white horses will pull up. Prince Charles and Camilla will get out and offer you a lift. Pretend to look surprised. Bollocks.
Yeah. Okay, that was one of them. So let's just play the next clip there, number 19. We'll have a look at see if I had any better luck on the next fortune telling machine. Let's have a look.
Right, let's have a look
see
at
what
this
happens.
one then.
Yeah, maybe something more accurate. I haven't met Camilla and Charles yet, so I'm sure I will be.
Right,
Yeah.
let's have a look at this one. Scientific automatic palmistry.
Palmistry, this should be
Let's have a
better.
look then. Maybe we'll have more luck with this. Let's have a look. So. Right, here goes nothing. Place your palm down here. And doing. Feel the vibrations actually. Let's see what they've got. A nice machine, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a nice sensation, that actually.
Still reading.
Maybe around. Read your palm. This should be more accurate now.
Right, let's see what it says. Your hand denotes ideas and thoughts of no common order, and with perseverance these will bring you distinction. You possess a well-developed intellect and are ambitious. Your fondness for company and making friends results in intriguing and no doubt torrid love
You dirty
affairs.
bastard.
Will include
That's not me.
your inclination will ever wilder indulgences will be held in check by sheer willpower.
She's got your number. She knows you like a
Free
finger in the
spirit
bum
of
during sex, Ian.
self-restraint is paramount.
Yeah.
Music will be your solace. More bullshit.
Yeah, well, there we go. Not having much luck with these machines. Let's play the last clip there, number 20 on the machines.
Go on then.
Yeah, number 20. See if I have any luck on the last.
Actually read it.
Yeah, whatever.
You
This
may
one, the wizard.
crouch down to a surface when a notorious bank robber dashes from a bank with stolen cash. He falls over you and is caught by the police. The bank's insurance pays you a huge reward, and Princess Anne will give you a medal. You'll buy a big house, but unsure with the company that's paid so many rewards. It's likely days. What? I can't even read that. Your house burns down, making you
Paid
homeless,
so many rewards, it goes
penniless.
bust.
To avert this, you have to wear slip-on shoes. I'm not actually
that's
sure.
weird.
That's quite specific, but yeah, just more bollocks.
Yeah. So, my house hasn't burnt down. I don't wear slip-on shoes, so yeah, a bit disappointing. I couldn't get something right from these machines. But you have to have a go. It's there. Okay, we'll just finish. We'll just round up now. So,
Oh, Craig heard something from the spirit box. He said, I thought I heard him say, after taking the piss with the binos, you can fuck right off.
yeah, exactly. I never heard that. But anyway, okay. We'll just
Well, you weren't listening, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever I embark on a Fortean road trip such as this, I like to find an abandoned building to do some urban exploring. If you remember my
You found Jimmy
last
Savile's last time, didn't you?
I did, yeah. From
Oh,
last
no,
year.
you really don't want to go in there.
Yeah, I do. I
You
discovered.
don't.
Well, put it on pause. We'll just do a bit of background. I discovered the abandoned house of Jimmy Savile, much loved DJ, and had a nose around. Unfortunately, there were people living in Frederic Fleet's house, so I couldn't go in there and start walking about filming. However, what I did find, the best I could do near the campsite in the New Forest, was an abandoned caravan on the side of the road. So I decided to go and have a look around and see what I could find. Let's have a look. Play the clip, please. See what we got.
Let's see what we got. Spooky.
Yeah,
Can't
This is
find
like
an
most
abandoned
haunted,
building to explore, but what we have found is an abandoned caravan. Let's have a look.
You know Pikey's pooping though,
What
isn't
we
he?
got here?
It
And
is.
then
Got a
maybe it's
label on
haunted.
it.
We'll see. So it's smashed in there. Yeah. Let's go and have a look inside then. See what we've got.
All the soft furnishings are gone, haven't they?
Fuck.
Once it
Toilet
start
in there.
wobbling around when you got in
I'm
there.
not going to go in there.
Yeah. Wasn't very stable.
But yeah. So look at that.
Oh no.
I wasn't going in the toilet.
Yeah, I wonder who could have left this.
Now who would live in a house like this?
Yeah. Look at the curtains.
Fucking vandal.
Brick
Look at that.
down.
Are you there, Sydney?
So yeah,
Pretty good.
interesting.
Coppers are after you.
Interesting that.
Okay. Well, there we go. That's the best I can do, though. So. Oh yeah, pretty good.
Nice.
So there you go. So, and that was where my journey ended, as I followed in the footsteps of Titanic lookout Frederic Fleet. So my journey started with an angry Karen, and it finished with an abandoned caravan.
Karen van.
Yeah. There you go. Not bad, eh? Pretty good.
Yeah.
All done.
spooky.
At last, we overran a bit, but so what?
It was like most haunted. I was
Yeah.
pooping myself.
I'm not fucking working tomorrow anyway, so. But yeah, so it's good.
Alright, that's alright then.
Hobbit, do you want to do unexplained histories, or are we going to?
Oh, well, penalty time means, the That'll wait for another week.
Yeah,
Cool.
we'll let it build up.
It's good to be back, and I'll be back soon.
Ah, nice one. So that's stay spooky. Say goodnight, Hobbit.
Woo!
Yeah.
Whoa!
Oh, good night, all.
Oh, not to be.
Don't have nightmares.